following Scotland at the World Cup with this.
Welcome to the Scotland. Welcome to the Scottish Football Zone, and we're not off to America because we couldn't afford the bus fare. So we're here. We're taking you right the way through until Scotland wins the World Cup. So they say. So joined tonight by a cast of thousands on the show. Joined by Regan, Robbie, Heidi, and Graham. Looking forward to the games, and we've got some interviews lined up for you as well. Get your comments coming in about the World Cup and that kind of stuff. So, Regan, it's a few days to go now. It's been a long time since that night in November at Hampden Park, but we're only a few days away now.
Aye, Michael, I'm looking forward to it so much. Thank you again for having me on. I mean, I don't think Scotland are quite going to win it, but I think we're going to get out of the group stage, aye.
Robert, how do you feel about this? Are you nervous yet? I'm not talking about doing the show with me again, but are you nervous overall? But like it should be all right because St Mirren's not in the playoffs, so it should be all right.
You just watch yourself, Michael. It took a minute and 30 seconds for Regan's optimism to come back into play on the show, but I'm looking forward to it. It was on this day in 2019 that the Steve Clarke era started when we beat Cyprus 2-1 at Hampden Park, and they were only a matter of days away from watching us at a World Cup. So I'm buzzing. I'm just soaking in the sort of pre-World Cup atmosphere. There's been a lot of great coverage already, different sort of videos to watch, different things to sort of sink your teeth into ahead of the World Cup. And I couldn't be any more excited for this. We're winning the World Cup. I truly believe that.
And Heidi will be here for every Scotland game, so get your seatbelts on. But you're looking forward to the game against Haiti?
I am looking forward to it. I'm buzzing, obviously, my first World Cup. It's just going to be great. I think it's going to be a belter of a World Cup. I think Scotland will do well, but maybe it might win it. You never know, but I think we'll do very well regardless. I think they two friendlies did massively help us, and I think we should hopefully try and at least do something this year.
It's the last ever show Heidi will be on because it's just reminding me and you, especially, that it's our first World Cup. I don't know how you feel, mate, but I feel totally depressed now.
Yeah, when we lost that game against Morocco in 1998, I think myself, along with many other Scotland fans, thought, we're going to get plenty of these. It's not going to matter. 28 years later, and it's our first one. It's just mental. But I can't wait. I love World Cups and Euros anyway, but I think when it's your own nation's involved in it, I think it makes it that bit more special, a bit more exciting. I can't wait. I've got the buzz. I don't know how many different Scotland World Cup songs I've heard the last few weeks, but it's got me right in the mood for it.
How, by the way, just a side note, how did we not just use Letter from America by the Proclaimers for a World Cup song? It's literally a perfect fit. Instead, we had like a million different people try and make a World Cup song. By the way, some of them are actually really good. But Letter from America was surely the stick on for this.
I did see one on Instagram earlier, and somebody said people should stop doing these Scotland songs. But I mean, some of the Scotland songs have been brilliant, especially Nathan Evans has been really good.
Aye, and well done to Craig Ferguson as well, who's basically completed his walk now for LA to New York and ahead of the game. A brilliant effort for Craig as per usual. Really smashed it at the park. I remember being there the night he left Glasgow when St Mirren got beat 5-0 off of Motherwell in front of Sir Alex Ferguson. He left for the stadium. That was his starting point, so no, fair play to Craig. He's done an absolutely amazing effort as always, and like he did back at the Euros as well.
Okay, so before we get into more detail, just to let you know, if you already don't know, we've got a game against Haiti at the weekend, so we'll be on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and we're doing the show after. We're doing the show after the game on the 15th at 2 o'clock, and then we go over to a small matter of Morocco. That game will be on the 19th. The pre-show will be on at 9:30 that night, with the after show the day after at 1 o'clock, and then never heard of this nation before. Brazil, we're playing. We're doing a pre-show at 9:30, and then 2 o'clock the next day as well. So there you go. You have been warned. Everything you've got to do. Everything you've got to do is. I think I've got a technical error, but I'm going to just leave it a minute or two. And so what we're going to do, right, is we're going to play this interview, and then we'll come back. I'll sort my things out. But anyway, so we had an interview with ESPN's Matt Donaldson about the World Cup and what Scotland fans are going to expect. So we're going to hear that interview now with Matt Donaldson from ESPN Sport. On the eve of the World Cup, a few days could go before it all kicks off. First of all, how is the America gearing up for this big event?
Excited. Those of us Scottish expats over here looking forward to welcoming our brothers and sisters from all around the world, because there's loads of Scots over here, but that's going to be increased exponentially by the number of the Tartan Army that are coming over here. So yeah, very excited seeing all the posts about the Scottish bars stocking up on the Scottish pints. Looking forward to being in Boston and Miami. Yeah, can't wait. It's been a long time coming, but it still seems like it was yesterday that Scott McTominay scored the overhead kick and we got that victory against Denmark.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like ages ago that famous goal went in as well, but it's nearly here, so we can't wait. What can the Scotland fans expect then when they go over to America, apart from I was joking with you earlier on, apart from taking a big checkbook with them? If people still use checkbooks, I mean, I might throw my eggs there, Mark.
It's the old traveller's checks we used to take back in the day. Weirdly, they still do take checks over here for some services.
I've just realised with Michael gone, I gets rid of the interview, so that's good. But while we wait on him returning, I want to ask you, Heidi, you obviously spoke about the two friendlies helping Scotland massively.
Mhm.
I mean, the Bolivia match, it was a stormer of our first 45 minutes for Scotland.
Aye, I actually never watched it. That's bad, but I
That's
know,
so how dare you?
I know. I forgot it was on, and then I realised, but no. I think it's obviously helping us. You look at Shankland getting on the score sheet twice. It's massive boost for the players, and I think a lot of the fans were saying it was a great performance and something that we need to focus on the World Cup. Obviously, like focus on, but he's just beat the Wee Nations, but you have to beat what's in front of you. And I think we've done that on the night. So I think at the end of the day, we just need to go out on a high and try our best. We can't just go there and just play for fun. We need to actually try and show and compete. So hopefully we can try and do that and hopefully get something out this World Cup.
Michael, we lost you and we lost the interviews as well. We're not quite sure where they've disappeared to, but we'll hopefully try and get them back at some point. But Regan,
I'll get them back.
Good to hear it. But Regan, we obviously watched the Bolivia game. It was a brilliant first 45. Every single player was amazing. I thought it handled the heat very well as well. I think that was one of the big concerns that people had, was how the players going to handle the sort of changing climate. But Scotland went out that first half and that sort of steamrolled Bolivia.
First half, probably like you said, I mean, Scotland were just playing some great football. And I thought Ben Doak played really well as well, to be honest, Robbie. And obviously Che Adams getting a double as well. So fair play to him. I think probably if you're Steve Clark, you're probably thinking, right, probably Shankland and Che Adams. But I think if it's me, I'd play Dykes because I thought Dykes was superb against is it Curacao? Thought he was brilliant against him.
Graham, I think a player that obviously used to play with Hearts and Lawrence Shankland, he's really stepped up in these last two friendlies. He's got his future sorted, so does Robertson. A question that I don't know about Reagan, I sort of took for Saturday night when Boyd and Stratton were asked it. How important is it now that these players have their future secured and, you know, they know where they're going to be next season? Because now the full focus is on this World Cup, and Shankland, I think, is really showing his form, set him up. You know, 3 goals in 2 games. He's really kicked on.
Yeah, it's funny to go to Rangers and start. So Scotland to win that. But something in that. I think.
Come on, Graham.
Yeah, but I'm not bitter. No, but I think it is. I think it is important. I think, you know, he's been fantastic for Hearts, and we know he's a goal scorer. Like, he's the best goal scorer Scotland have got. And I think it's been a question that's been raised over the last few weeks about the Scotland team. Is like, do you start Shankland? Well, you've got your answer. You have to play him. He's got 7 goals now for Scotland. He's the best finisher we've got. And I actually thought on Saturday there was some decent link-up between Adams and Shankland. I'm not Adams' biggest fan. I never have been. But I thought it actually looked a lot better. So I'd probably start him and Shankland. And yeah, Robertson, I mean, going to Tottenham's a strange move, but fair enough. Still in the Premiership.
A big move, Graham. Big move.
I think it's a massive move for him.
Big move, Graham.
No, it's a massive move. I mean, listen, he could have been playing in the Championship next season, but he's not. But yes, it's great for them. And I thought actually the first half, I know you can say Bolivia weren't great, but I actually think Scotland had a lot to do with it. I thought Scotland were fantastic in that first half. And I think going into this World Cup, you need momentum. We've now scored 4 against Curacao. We scored 4 against Bolivia. Could have actually scored more. Momentum's massive going into this game because I think Haiti is the biggest game so far. We have to win that. If we win that, I've heard a few pundits and stuff saying that 3 points might be enough to go through. If we win that and maybe take a point off Morocco, you're essentially through. So I think this game on Sunday is massive for Scotland, and we've got confidence now. So it's a big, big game.
Michael, I believe you've managed to recoup the interviews. Your mic's muted, by the way, just so you don't talk when you're muted.
Yeah, I'm having a brilliant night so far.
It's good to hear you.
Yeah. It's good because I think you never heard me because Heidi was saying it was her first World Cup and it made me feel a bit old than I am. But anyway, yeah. So let's go back to.
I'm older than all of you. I'm older than all of you.
Well, I think you are, but yeah, about 20 years maybe. Yeah.
That's harsh.
It's a little blow, that.
Okay, 25 then. So we'll go back to the interview. I interviewed Matt Donaldson last week from ESPN Sports in America. He's going to the game. In fact, he's not working at the games. He's going as a supporter to the games. But I was asking him about what the Tartan Army will be looking forward to when they go to America. So this is when I spoke to Matt Donaldson last week. So yep, and he
Michael's having a great first show back, isn't he?
So first of all, how is the America gearing up for this big event?
Excited. Those of us Scottish expats over here looking forward to welcoming our brothers and sisters from all around the world, because there's loads of Scots over here, but that's going to be increased exponentially by the number of the Tartan Army that are coming over here. So yeah, very excited seeing all the posts about the Scottish bars stocking up on the Scottish pints. Looking forward to being in Boston and Miami. Yeah, can't wait. It's been a long time coming, but it still seems like it was yesterday that Scott McTominay scored the overhead kick and we got that victory against Denmark.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like ages ago that famous goal went in as well, but it's nearly here, so we can't wait. What can the Scotland fans expect then when they go over to America? Apart from, I was joking with you earlier on, apart from taking a big checkbook with them. If people still uses checkbooks, I mean, I might throw my eggs there, Mark.
Yes, the old traveller's checks we used to take back in the day. Weirdly, they still do take checks over here for some services, and then those services will use their mobile phones, their cell phones, as they call them over here, to deposit into their bank account. It makes no sense. Look, it will be expensive, but depending on where Scotland fans are staying, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter whether it's Boston, whether it's the outskirts, whether it's even Connecticut where I live, or even in New York, and then down in Florida, whether it's Miami Beach, all the way up Fort Lauderdale, Boca, Cocoa Beach, Orlando. There's loads to do. Absolutely loads to do. If it's Boston, there's a Scottish night at the baseball when the Red Sox are playing. I think that's the Saturday night after Scotland play Haiti in their first game. But the stadiums are nowhere near the two cities. It's a good 50-minute drive to get to the Boston Stadium, as they're calling it, but that's in a place called Foxborough. And that's actually closer to Providence, Rhode Island, which is in a different state. And that's why a number of the Tartan Army are staying in Providence and surrounding towns in that area. Look, it's a bit like being in Germany, as far as not everybody's going to stay in Munich for the first game, not everybody stayed in Cologne for the second game, and not everybody stayed in Stuttgart for the third game. But there's probably 10 times as many people who were in Germany supporting Scotland that will be here. But those that are coming over and those that already live here, it will be exciting. It will be fun to have so many Scots, two brilliant cities in Boston and Miami, but also very expensive, as you said right at the start. But it is a once in a lifetime for a lot of these people. Mums and dads have waited. Mums and dads have had kids that weren't alive the last time Scotland qualified a World Cup. The Scotland squad has 8 players, Michael, that weren't even alive and weren't born the last time Scotland played at a World Cup. So I'd rather accentuate the positives, because you're going to get expensive beer and expensive food wherever you go to watch Scotland if it's in a World Cup. So make the most of it. Enjoy what we have to offer over here, and bring your sunscreen or your sun lotion, whatever you call it. I've been over here too long now because it's heating up. Today's going to be 82 in Connecticut. I think there'll be a cool day on Monday. 82 is, I think, 28 or 29 degrees Celsius. You can expect hot days while you're here. You don't want to spend most of those days inside and putting on aloe vera because you've been burned. So just be smart and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, don't worry. We haven't got that problem over here.
That was last week.
Yeah, that last week for 5 minutes, I suppose, as well. We can't really do the interview without actually speaking about the games that's coming up.
Sure.
That the first one is Haiti. Obviously, Morocco and Brazil will take care of itself. First of all, what do you think of our chances?
They're decent. We should win. I was a wee bit not surprised, because they're not a bad team. But when Scottish fans woke up and I watched the game down in the Inter Miami training facilities in Fort Lauderdale when Haiti beat New Zealand by 4-0. That's typical kind of Scottish worrying about teams. We should beat them. But I work at ESPN with a number of colleagues, commentators, journalists from Central America and North America as well. A lot of Mexicans, a lot of people who know a lot about CONCACAF football, which is the confederation where Haiti play. They might not be the most talented, albeit they do have a lot of individual quality in their team, not as much as Scotland, but they're very fit. They're used to these conditions. It won't be as hot in Boston for the opening game, certainly as far as humidity is concerned, as it will be down in Miami for the third game against Brazil. But they'll be far better used to the conditions than Scotland will be, even though Scotland came over Sunday, I think it was, of last week and prepared in Fort Lauderdale before going up to New Jersey for the Bolivia game. So they'll be used to better conditions. All those colleagues that I work with have said they'll run all day. They'll be one of the fittest teams at the World Cup. So you're not going to outrun them. You're not going to have more energy in the tank than them. So it's all going to come down to quality. Scotland has more, but they also had more against Costa Rica in 1990, and that didn't go well. So this is the key one for me, Michael. Scotland has to win this game, because if Scotland win it, and they can win it by a couple of goals, the chances of going through with 3 points and not having a negative goal difference are 96%. That's massive. But if you don't beat Haiti, that drops exponentially, and it means you're going to have to do the hard work against Morocco and Brazil, which will be a lot harder.
A lot of people over here as well, Mark, are basically saying Haiti we'll beat them easy, but like, you've got to take them at face value, like they're there on merit at the World Cup. It doesn't matter if they're a small nation or not very talented. They're still at the World Cup, so they must be a good team.
I think when you look back to 1974, Michael, I was born just a couple of years after. There might be some people watching this that were born, but regardless, Scotland beat Zaire by 2-0 in their first game, which seemed okay at the time, but ultimately it's what cost Scotland, because if they'd scored more, they would have gone through. I think Yugoslavia put 9 past them. Costa Rica, I've mentioned, obviously Iran and Peru in 1978. We seem to be better against better sides. I think we've seen that in qualifying, getting the better of Denmark over the 2 games, the goalless draw away. We can set up better against teams that are arguably better than us. And I think we'll go defensive. I think we'll go 3 at the back against Morocco and against Brazil. But the Haiti game, and this is where I don't want to get too negative, because you can easily go down the rabbit hole and look at what they've done and the players that they've got, and look at our past and our history and struggling against the smaller nations. But this is a game that Scotland should win. Our problem, though, seems to be when we get the ball and we have more of the ball than the opposition, and we're asked to create more. I think if Scotland can get a goal inside the first 20 minutes, and it's the opening goal, I think that will really set us down. Set us up for a good game and settle us down. But anybody who was at Hampden or watched the game at the weekend against Curacao, even Steve Clarke said that was not a good start to the game. And Haiti and Curacao are of similar levels as far as FIFA's rankings are concerned. They're the kind of low to mid-80s. Curacao looked better than Scotland to begin with on Saturday. So forget FIFA rankings. It's all about doing it on the pitch. It's about getting the chances and taking them and trying to get a goal ahead. Because if we do, I think that's the key. I don't want to go behind against a team that's going to chase us all day, because that would be a big problem.
Well, do you say as well that when you look at the games like Haiti, Morocco and Brazil, the games have fell and I don't want to say about favour, because I don't want to, be big-headed and all the rest of it. But what I'm saying is, if the Brazil came first, it would be a bit nervy.
I don't know. I like the way that the games have come, because there is a good chat. What we want is Brazil to beat Morocco in the first game. And we want that because they'll beat Haiti in their second game. And if they do, and they win the first 2, then they're qualified pretty much. Then we'll see perhaps what happened in 1998 when we did Brazil first. And that was obviously the opening game in the World Cup. And we did all right in that game. I think we were within, 15 minutes or so of getting a draw. But ultimately, in the third game, Brazil were already through. And they lost to Norway. And Morocco ended up finishing second in the group, if I remember correctly. So I like the way that the fixtures have fallen for Scotland. What it does do, it does put pretty much all the importance now on the game against Haiti. If we win that, and we win it by a few goals, which I think will be tough, but if we can do that, that takes the pressure off, because it doesn't really matter what happens against Brazil or Morocco as long as we don't get thumped in them both. If we can get that comfortable win over Haiti in the first game, that sets us up nicely. And there's There's no thought about possibly, well, we could take something from Morocco. We could also take something from Brazil if they make all the changes, if they're already through. Just forget about Morocco and forget about Brazil right now. Our World Cup final, and we'll probably never get there, but this World Cup final for Scotland is their opening group game, and that's all that matters.
There we go. That was Mark Donaldson from ESPN speaking to us last week. And he pulls off a nice flat cap, Robbie, as you mentioned as well. But so there you go, Graham. The build up is on. We're all set to go to America. Well, we are not all set to go to America, but I think Matt Donaldson is a wee bit older than us. He possibly revealed in that interview.
Yeah, he is just slightly, I think, just slightly older than me. Sorry, Mark, if you're watching this back, but just slightly. No, it was a great interview. Well done, Michael. I thought you and Mark were great in the interview. And I think a lot of the stuff that he said is kind of what I've said the last few days as well. I think the Haiti game's massive. You have to win that. You know, this is the biggest game for us. If you win that, you give yourself such a great chance because Brazil and Morocco play on Saturday. So there's going to be points dropped in that straight away. We need to win that first game. And it will be, you kind of mentioned it there about the fact that, you know, Haiti are seen as kind of the cannon fodder of a game we should win. And yes, we should. But like you said, they're there for a reason. They have to be taken seriously. But it's a game that Scotland should be winning. Like, there's no disrespect to them, but it's a game that we should be winning. If we win it comfortably, fantastic. But the main thing is just get 3 points. And I think Robbie mentioned it earlier, actually, about the heat, about the Bolivia game. That was really impressive to me, was the fact that even though it was a warm-up game, it was a friendly game, the fact we played in that heat and the fact we played with intensity for most of the game was very impressive. If we carry that on Sunday, then we've got a very good chance here. But the opening game is so important. Scotland have not won an opening game at a World Cup. This is such a big, big game. All I have to be honest here. You know, I kind of said this in one of my group chats as well, and I don't want to be negative, but if we don't beat Haiti, we may as well get back on the plane home if we don't win that. We have to win the opening game. So Mark's right. It's such a big, big game. We need to win this, but we should go in there full of confidence. Our last two games, I know they're friendly games, but we scored 8 goals. We've got Shanklin's in decent form, Adams in decent form. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I genuinely can't wait. I don't like the fact it's 2 o'clock kickoff, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
I mean, that's a good point that Graham makes, Heidi, because obviously, like, even though that we don't know much about Haiti and all the rest of it, but we should actually show them like some respect because they, you know, and also hey, we want to talk because we've not qualified for a World Cup since '98. So I mean, we shouldn't get carried away with ourselves. We should be maybe quietly confident, but not kind of like overboard.
Yeah, I think the Haiti game is so important. Like, we have to beat Haiti. If we don't beat Haiti, I think the team should just like go back in the plane. Like, I'm not trying to be like negative towards them, but I think Haiti's so important. We need to get something out of them because Brazil and Morocco are very, very good sides. Maybe Brazil haven't been the best the last few years, but they've still got great players in the team. We really need to think, hopefully, beat Haiti and we've got a decent chance for a Morocco game. I think that'll give the players the confidence for the next game. But yeah, Haiti is so important. Obviously, like, people say, oh, like, you know, Haiti are not great, but you never know. They're in the World Cup for a reason. I mean, they're not really a tough side. I've seen that they bet like New Zealand like 4-0, so they're no a tough side. But I think we need to go out there and hopefully try and get 3 points against Haiti. We need to beat them.
Robbie, I was speaking to somebody yesterday about you shouldn't really look into these kind of like bounce games because you know the competitive games, the real stuff. But I think he was being negative in a way because like, if you came out the games, like say for instance if we get beat in both of these games, but we scored 8 goals, 4 goals last week and 4 goals in Saturday. and we should take it into the hate again. But also, what I was going to say, and back to what Graham's point made early on. Like, see, when you look at the games when they came out, right, you're thinking, oh no, Morocco, Brazil, right? But see the way that the games fell, they actually fell in a good way for Scotland, because, I mean, I think we would be having a different conversation if we played Brazil first. We don't play them till last.
Aye, it can be a good or a bad thing, I suppose. I think with the friendlies, it's interesting because you look at our friendly record the last year or two, it's been shocking, to be honest with you. We've been really, really poor in friendlies, but we seem to have switched it on just at the right time. And by the way, a really, really good interview, Michael, for you and Mark's point. Not seen a flat cap that good since Dick Campbell was at the Smizer Stadium with our bro, so it was always nice to get the flat cap. But no, look, friendlies, you can take a lot for a friendly based on Steve Clark's selection next week in particular, this week, sorry, with what he's going to go with. I'd imagine it's going to be pretty much the same lineup, bar John McGinn maybe beginning instead of Christie or Ferguson, drop at one of the two. So it was nice to see what the players are made of. You look at Che Adams go where Ben Gannon-Doak makes a run on it and taps it across. What a brilliant run for Gannon-Doak. That was like really, really good pace on the boy to get to the ball. So we're learning a few things of what we might see at the World Cup, and that's a kind of way we need to punish Haiti. If we can play a 45 minutes like that, we probably blow Haiti out of the water, and that's again no disrespect to them, but they're just not the quality we're at in terms of the squad we've got and the way we should be playing. So I am looking forward to it. But the one thing I will say is I hope the players aren't playing with the mentality of, all right, let's just beat Haiti and then, you know, we're more slightly through. I hope they're not playing with that mentality, because it can get to you. You know, Mark pointed it out. If Brazil or Morocco days in, then the goal difference flips and we're not one of the best third place teams. So although I agree with you that we will need to beat Haiti and we will have a good chance, we can't get too carried away with Morocco or Brazil, because if they sweep you under the carpet, then your chances of qualifying become really, really slim.
Yeah, and Heidi, that's basically a point that James made there about, like, Scotland have to play at one game at a time, and that's what Robbie was saying. Now, there's no point of saying, well, we've got 3 massive games and then we're out the group. I mean, you can't take that for granted, you know. One game at a time, and that begins on Sunday.
Aye, we've got to take it one at a time. We can't just, as Robbie said, go out there and say, oh, we can beat Haiti, no problem. No, we can't. We need to obviously show some respect to them, but I think the game against Haiti is just so important because how quality Morocco and Brazil are. They've got some good players, so I think hopefully on Sunday we can take care of Haiti and do something. But as I said before, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but hopefully we have a chance after the 2 friendlies. It gives a wee bit of positive note, so hopefully we can do something and hopefully not embarrass ourselves.
Reagan, what do you think ahead of the game on Sunday? I mean, do you think that we've found enough on the back of the game? I think the only down point is Billy Gilmore.
I think over the 2 games, Steve Clark will be pretty pleased. I mean, to score 8 is very good for Scotland, and obviously Che Adams and Shannon are full of belief as well. So I think in terms of Scotland, I don't think we could be going in a better place as well, to be honest with you. I want to ask you guys, because the big debate is who plays between the sticks. Is it going to be Craig or is it going to be Angus? Because for me, it's got to be Craig, but I don't know. I know that people like, obviously, pundits on radio shows and TV shows have said maybe Angus plays, but for me, it's got to be Craig. I don't know what you guys.
The point I'd make on the goalkeepers is I think there's been a lot of debate about them, and rightly so. I think they're all 3 talented goalkeepers, by the way, and that's my point. Whoever Steve decides to pick on Saturday, I'm not particularly bothered. I'm not looking at one of the options and going, right, that's us beat them because he's in goal. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it as they've all got positives. If it was me picking, I'd probably go Angus Gunn, to be honest with you, but I get why people would say Craig Gordon. But look, I think it's 3 perfectly good options for Scotland and 3 that I wouldn't be concerned about if they started.
Graham?
I've already picked my team, and Craig Gordon's on it. He's starting for me.
How good-
His experience in this kind of game, I think, is massive. So Craig Gordon starts for me.
So Graham, tell your team. Who's your team for the match?
You want it now?
On you go, aye.
4-4-2. Craig Gordon in goal. Robertson left back. Hickey right back. Hendry and McKenna at centre back. Midfield 4 of Ben Gannon Doak, Ferguson, McTominay and McGinn. Shankland and Adams up front. That's my team.
You're in dreamland if you think he's ever dropping Mr. Grant Hanley at the back.
Well, I know that won't be the team. I know he's going to probably pick like Kenny McLean and stuff, but that's just the team that I would go with.
No, I'd agree, to be fair. If it was me picking the team, I'd pick the exact same. The only thing I could see Clark doing bar that, it probably is Grant Hanley at the back, because Grant Hanley's his probably most reliable centre half. So, I, to be honest, if that lineup came out, I'd be absolutely delighted with it.
I mean, he's going to pick Ryan Christie, but I just think you've got to get, for me, after what we did on Sunday, I know it's against Bolivia, but the Adam Shankland partnership worked really well, and you've got to try and figure out a way as well to get like John McGinn in the team. So I think that for me works, and you have to play Ben Gannon Doak. Like, he's lightning quick. He was outstanding on Saturday, so I'm just looking at it and thinking we should have most of the ball potentially. We should be on the attack, and I think that team gives us a lot of options going forward. So that's the reason I'm picking that. And I think the one thing I've heard about Haiti is they're quite quick going forward. Well, our quickest centre back is Scott McKenna. So that's why I'm playing Scott McKenna. That's the team that I'm going with.
Yeah, I mean, probably me and Robbie should do a public apology, because we've been talking about Grant Hanley for a couple of years now, but he's actually done okay, to be honest with you. But I
think he's done more than all right, Wigan, to be honest with you. I think he's a terrific centre half, but I think it's easy to get carried away with the name Grant Hanley, but you look at the basic stuff that he does, and he does it right. He's a big physical centre half. I think Graham's right. If you're picking off a pace, then you probably are going Hendry and McKenna at the back. But I don't think Hanley's specifically a bad option, to be honest. It's the reason he's here. You know, if he was that bad, he wouldn't even get on the plane. So, no, I'm pretty comfortable no matter what lineup Steve Clark picks, to be honest with you. I think Graham's right. After watching Naz on at St Mirren for a year or two, I know he's very, very fast and very physical as well for such a small football player he is. He fair gets about and he's fair strong, so we will need to be careful of that type of threat. But let's just be glad we're not coming up against Odsonne Edouard, because I know he was in contention to get a call up and he chose not to, so it could be worse.
You know how you talked earlier on about like the futures and that getting sorted with Shankland and Robertson? I know we've not been on for a couple of weeks. Now the future's been decided for Steve Clark, and the fact that he's going to be Scotland manager 2030. What do you think that does for the Scotland squad going out of this game? Because I think a lot of folk, like myself, thought that the SFA might wait till after the World Cup and see how we do and then appoint him. So how do you think that's going to affect Scotland now going out of this, knowing that Steve Clark is there for at least another 4 years?
I think
it will settle the players. I think it will settle them. I think it will make them feel more confident knowing that they've got a manager that's going to be there long term, especially for the younger type of players like Gannon Doak. I think he'll play after that, knowing that he's got that gaffer there, that guy that, like, for all that we've come on the show, and I remember we're coming up to the point where I started on the show with the Euros. But I think we all said after that point we probably would have preferred if Clark left, but look, the players buy some mentality off of this guy. The fact that his goal is here and the fact that he's made us go this far shows what the players have stood up to. You know, you go back to that Cyprus game. Before that game, we were absolutely woeful to watch. I mean, I remember sitting on my bus home from school watching us get beat off of Kazakhstan and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it shows you the level that we've came to even get here. Let's just hope Clark doesn't do, you know what, I've got the new contract, let's just switch to a 5 at the back again and let's play 2 up top and let's just bang long balls all night, because that would be funny if that ended up being the lineup. But no, Graham, I think it will give the players a whirlwind of confidence going into this tournament. I think, in my opinion, it struck at the right time, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing Clark getting a new contract, to be honest with you. I think we need to be careful what we wish for in some regard, because if Clark leaves and we bring somebody in that doesn't work out as well, we could be sitting here wishing we had Clark back. So no, the Clark contract for me will do a world of good.
And obviously, Robbie, you know me, I'm on about the selection sometimes and that, but it was interesting to hear, obviously, on Saturday night that obviously Chris Boyd and Strachan were saying that basically the Scotland players basically pick the squad. It's not the manager.
Aye, and it was sort of meant in a sense of, you pick the good guys to go into the team, that's what I took away from it, Reagan. Robertson and whoever else, the main experienced players will be looking at this team thinking, right, who's, a good player, you obviously Strachan told the story about John McGinn, how nice he is. You pick the good guys to represent your country. Strachan made a wonderful point. They date for free. Bar the sponsorships and bar the advertisements and all that stuff. They don't get paid a wage for coming out to play for Scotland. So, it's really interesting. I think my mind's changed a lot early year, and in this specific year on Steve Clarke, because after the Euro, I probably would have agreed it was time for him to move on. But see now, when you actually, you watch the documentaries, you hear how Robertson and McGinn and McTominay talk about him, and you see the way he conducts himself. I'm more than happy with Steve Clarke in charge until 2030, to be honest.
Okay, so we're just going to go for another interview now, and we're going to hear from Ian Emerson, from the editor of the famous Tartanami magazine. I'm not going to tell you what the magazine's about because I think the name gives it away. But if you don't know it, it's about rugby. I'm only kidding, by the way. No, it's about football. So I spoke to Ian last week about the World Cup, but also I spoke to him about the magazine. It's out at the moment. So before we get to speak about Scotland going to the World Cup, I know you've been on a show, the show a few times, but you're the editor of the famous Tartanami magazine. So can you tell us a wee bit about the magazine?
How you doing, Michael? Yeah, it's great to be back on. Yeah, well, you should know you've got two excellent contributions to it. We've got a current issue out just now, which is famous Tartanami magazine, and it's a World Cup edition. The front cover, you get it on the website. Here's a wee promo of it. And it's a World Cup. Could be waiting a long time to get this. I want to say in the introduction, welcome to our World Cup edition, because obviously we've missed out so many times. So yeah, it's out just now. It's a digital copy and it's free, and there's some excellent offers in it as well. You can win a trip. Still not too late to win a trip over to America to watch the games. It's free entry, and they've got some really good sponsors and advertisers giving away some brilliant discounts as well. So yeah, and lots of content. So
all we need to do is Scotland to win the World Cup now, Ian. I mean, I know that there's been a lot of contributors work going into the magazine, the likes of me, you, and we've got a few other people as well, like Hazel. Hazel's going over to America, John Bleasdale as well, and Kirk Young as well, writes for the magazine.
That's right. I'm just looking at the headers now, so don't miss anyone out. So in this issue, we've got a mixture of fans giving their plans for either watching the game at home or going across to America. So, and predictions as well about how we're going to do. We've got Alistair has given us a really good interview with Stuart McCall, looking back at Italia 90 and playing for Scotland in the World Cup. Chick Young's got his column, which is really good and funny, and slagging off FIFA a bit about the costs. And I think we're going to come back and revisit that in the next issue about the cost of this World Cup. We've got Scotland women's national team covered in it. We've got Elsie Cook, who's a founder, a pioneer of women's football, and she writes a regular column, and that's really good. And she writes it in that Ayrshire dialect, so it's pretty good. We've got fans with microphones, and that's Gordon Duncan, who's talking about how he got his love for Scotland, but also his broadcasting career. We've got Jim Delahunt, a really good interview by yourself, Michael, and it was really good to hear a bit more about the background to him and how he and his views as well on the current state of broadcasting and journalism. So that was really good. We've got Steve Clarke giving us all his take on how we qualified and his feelings about going to the World Cup. We've got a feature on World Cup songs. We've also, in the past, had some classic and not so classic World Cup hits, and we feature a few of the new ones that are out. What else we've got? And a really good interview with Jonathan Watson. I think yourself did it, Michael, and he said he's not doing only an excuse, but there might be a new version coming out, I believe, a radio version. I'm not sure for this one. There's a buzz about the place, Jonathan Watson. So yeah, and lots more. There's lots more in it. Tartan Army photos and everything else.
Yeah, that's good. Are you looking forward to this World Cup? Obviously, it's like Scotland's first World Cup. I think the last time we were at a World Cup, I was still at school, and now I'm kind of hitting 43, so it's been a long time.
28 years. 1998. And we played two of the teams. We played Brazil and we played Morocco. So two of them are getting again. So it's been far too long. And it's time for the younger members of the Tartan Army to get back, to get the chance to go to a World Cup and to make their own memories and stories of what I'm sure will be a brilliant trip. Obviously, there's some downsides of it all, negativity a bit before it, about the cost and about the availability of tickets, the cost of travel, but knowing that, the Tartan Army and knowing some of the things they've got organised, they're going to have a ball. So despite the cost and the feeling of being a bit fleeced and ripped off, I know the Tartan Army are going to go there. They've already started arriving. We're getting pictures back already, and they're going to have a ball. There's so many stories. You said Hazel's going over there, and she's involved in the Providence Tartan Army, where they've hired 20 yellow school buses for a convoy to the stadium, and just things like that. They're going to make it amazing. And look forward to getting all the full stories and all the photographs afterwards. It'll be brilliant.
Looking at the games then, right? Obviously we've got Haiti first up. Got to get up at stupid o'clock to watch the game at 2 a.m, and then you've got Morocco, Brazil. But when you look at the games, Ian, I don't know about you, but I feel as though that they fell in a good way for Scotland in terms of like the first game against Haiti. That's not a given that we're going to win the game, but in saying that, if you had Brazil in the first game, you would say, well, we'll be up against it.
Yeah, well, you think back to the Euros when we had Germany in the opening game, and look at how that turned out. We got absolutely hammered, and we couldn't really recover from it. So yeah, he's a chance to get some points in the scoreboard, but it's not going to be easy. Definitely not, because yesterday they beat New Zealand 4-0, and and we had played at the weekend, and it took us a bit. Well, it took a sending off to allow us to get back into the games, really. So obviously, I'm looking at the campaign that got us here and how well we played, and some of the fantastic results, and the Denmark game, the goals off the scale, and if we can produce one bit of that, we're in a chance. I'd like to think going through. Because 3 points, depending on the goal difference, might even get us through. So to win the first game is so important. And then anything after that could be a bonus if we get a draw anywhere or anything like that. And as long as we don't concede a whole lot of goals, we're in a chance of getting out for the first time ever.
I was going to say 3 points. I would maybe say 4 at push.
Yeah, if you get 4 points, I think you're definitely going through. I don't know. It obviously depends on all results. But I saw a kind of predictor thing that if you could go through, I think there's a 45% chance of going through if you get 3 points and only 1 goal deficit kind of thing. They're trying to work out the probability. Obviously, it's not scientific. Anything could happen. But there's still a chance on 3 points. And I think you should go through in 4. But it's getting that other point if we get the victory in the first game. And it's just hopefully the Scotland team that we know that the potential of it can turn up and pull off some results.
It was a bit weird to see a water break at Hampden at the weekend because it wasn't even sunny. It was raining. So how do you think that the team will adapt to having a water break in the middle of the game?
Yeah, I think it's going to obviously be different. It's going to be different for the supporters watching it. If everyone watching on telly, I think we're going to be watching adverts and stuff like that. So it's going to be a bit Americanized, but I think especially down in Florida, the heat's going to be unbearable. So I think it's a sensible thing to do, to have a water break. It might work in our favour. You never know. Get a wee chance of team talk, look at tactics. You know, it might be a chance to regroup, depending on how the game's going. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how it works. Yeah, then after that we can decide whether or not it's been a good thing or bad. But I don't see it can be a bad thing in the heat. You know, it might work in the Scots our favour because we're not used to the heat.
What do you think of the squad overall that Steely Clark's picked?
Yeah, I think it's probably as strong as it could be. You know, a couple of people could argue that like Bowie, people like that I'm sure they'll be involved in the next squad. Or Stevie Clark's renewed his contract, and he said himself he's got faith in the future. So it's not like coming to an end. Almost like the '98 World Cup squad was like coming to an end. There's a lot of older players there, and then after that we failed in so many qualifying campaigns. So with Stevie Clark still in the job, I'm hopeful. You know, there's a bit of continuity and new players are blended in. Look at the players we've got now. We've got McGinn, McTominay. We've got real winners in there. Kieran Tierney, Robertson. You know, we've got some really strong players. Obviously, worry a bit about defence, maybe a bit about the goalkeeping. But overall, probably striking it well. Shankland came on, scored 2 goals. I was delighted to see that. Every time he gets on the pitch, he seems to score. So has he earned enough now to get a starting place? I don't know. I don't know. I really just hope, because when we're in Germany there for the Euros, I felt we're too cautious. And when we had, you know, still had a chance near the last, after the first game we got hammered, we still had chances, and I thought we're too cautious. So I hope we're not too cautious, because we've got nothing to lose. We want to try and get through, obviously. So have a go. Always say have a go.
Go. That was the Ian Emerson. I think a bit weird interviewing him, not because because he's my manager for the manager. He's my editor of the magazine. But there you go. So you can get that magazine out there now. It's out, and I would recommend Goose and reading the 2 interviews. Maybe not bother about the rest of the magazine, but yeah. Now I'm all the kidding. So have a look at the website, TanamiMagazine.com as well. Heidi, yeah. So basically, yeah. So we've got a few days to go until the World Cup. You know what? The 2 other cast your prediction yet?
I think Scotland, if I was going with the new, I think we'll finish 3rd in the group. And I think we'll just get through.
Remember that song, Don't Come Home Too Soon? By
I was going to
Dylan
say that earlier, actually, yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to hear that again.
No, we certainly do not.
Robbie, I mean, I think if we, you know, I think if we carry that performance into the game on Saturday against Haiti, then we'll be laughing.
Aye, well, I hope so. I'm going a bit more optimistic than I think I've seen anybody predict Scotland. I'm going to put us to finish 2nd in the group and go through automatically. I don't think it's going to take a best 3rd place team. I'm going to put us in the top 2 and going through. I don't know who we pick up the point against, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's Morocco or Brazil, but I fancy us to get through automatically.
Well, I don't know about you guys. You saw the Morocco game last night, but it was like watching a computer game at times, Graham. They were so fast on the ball.
Yeah, they did look good. And I think they are like 8th in the world ranking. They're a very, very good signing. You can see why. But I think Scotland's got a big chance here. And I think Ian's right. He's kind of said what I've been saying for the last few weeks. I want Scotland to have a go at this. There's no point in coming home with regrets. Have a go at it. You know, if you win the first game, you give yourself a big opportunity. But that first game is so important. But win that first game and then just have a go. Because the 2 Euros we were in, we didn't really compete. We were very negative and very flat. We can't afford to do that this time. This is a big opportunity here. And I agree with Robbie. I actually think there's a good chance for Scotland for a second here. I genuinely think Scotland get out of this group. I think it would be fantastic if we can. To qualify for our first World Cup group stage would be incredible. And why not? The one thing I will say, though, is I know this has not been talked about yet. I am genuinely gutted for Billy Gilmore. I'd love to see him there. I think he's a fantastic footballer. He controls the midfield. He's a player that when he gets the ball, he uses it very well. He's a big, big miss. There's been a lot of talk about Tyler Fletcher getting called up. I'll be honest, I've not seen anything off this guy at all. But I'm gutted for Billy Gilmore. Imagine waiting all this time for a World Cup. You're looking forward to it and he gets injured in a friendly game. It's gutting for him. And hopefully he comes back soon. But it's such a big blow for him.
Aye, and it's John McGinn missing earlier. It's a big blow for the squad as well. You know, they really did take a morale punch when Gilmore missing it. You know, it's a guy that I'd imagine brings so much positivity to the squad, and to see a guy like that miss it is heartbreaking for us. You know what I mean? He's a guy that just like us, that loves the country, wants to represent us, and he's unfortunately not been allowed that chance. Tyler Fletcher, look, Michael, you especially, we've bragged on about this for so long about getting youth players into teams. I've seen a lot of fans criticising the call up of Tyler Fletcher or maybe a Lennon Miller, but Clark's done what everybody's wanted him to do since he started his reign. We've all been asking for him to call up the youth players and call up the younger boys. Game experience, he's done that now, so it's up to Tyler Fletcher to go and show why he's up. I think he showed a few flashes of promise, to be honest, in a couple of games we've seen him in stints, but I am hoping he can go and make his mark at the World Cup because he'll get used at some point, you know, especially with the climate and with the heat. He's going to need to do a lot of rotating in these games. He's going to need to bring on players that you maybe wouldn't usually see because that's just the climate of playing football. You can't just run for 90 minutes in the heat that they're going to be playing, and it'll really do players harm. So he will need to make changes at some point. And on that note, by the way, I probably should have said at the start of the show, but I'm sure everybody's thoughts go to Christian Eriksen, who obviously had that incident on the pitch again the other night. As far as I'm aware, he's recovering well, which is good. But I have another really scary incident.
And it's not the first time, second time it's happened. He's only 34. Doesn't even seem that old. But you kind of think, I did a TikTok about this earlier on today. You kind of think at some point, it comes to a point in a player's career, you know it's time to retire. I wonder if last night might be his. And it's gutting because he's a fantastic player. But the fact it's happened twice is, I think it's probably time for him to retire. And it's a sad thing to say.
I think he'll be forced to retire, Graham, and you know, because typical professional football player, they would want to carry on, but I think it'll be taken out of his hands, like his doctors, his family, and all that, you know. And I mean, you don't want to see that just before the World Cup, but yeah, hopefully he's okay and stuff like that. But going back to your point about Billy Gilmore, Heidi, right? You know, do you ever watch football players and say, "Wow, they're going to be brilliant football players," and then when they start playing, they're very unlucky with injuries, and that's what Billy Gilmore has, because I can't remember Billy Gilmore playing about 5 or 6 Scotland games back to back because he's always been injured, and it's a shame as well because he's a good prospect, you know.
Aye, it's cutting for him, especially missing out on like his first World Cup. It's obviously going to be frustrating for him, especially if any player was to miss it for playing for a country in a World Cup. It's frustrating, but I think Gilmore has got promise. He's a good player. He's got some decent qualities in there. And I think missing out is a big blow for him. It's not the greatest for him at all. Especially, obviously, this could maybe be his first World Cup he's seen in his country. So it is a blow for him, but hopefully he can bounce back. Hopefully maybe be an action if we ever get in the next World Cup. But it is a blow for him because I think he's such a great young football player who's got a lot of promise in him.
Robbie, Graham?
I'd agree. And look, I think more opportunities will come with Gilmore if he can keep himself injury free, which is becoming significantly harder in football. You're seeing a lot more injuries, even if it is just the slighter ones that are sort of taking players out for a long while now. But like with the new World Cup format and the way it sort of presents itself, it's obviously a bigger tournament overall, more teams, more groups. I think it probably presents an opportunity for all the young guys to say, well, look, even if we did miss this one, we're going to the next one. I'm not even looking at the guys that are injured. You're looking at guys like Lennon Miller who missed out in this World Cup. He'll probably be sitting thinking to himself, right, well, I'm gonna be that guy that goes to the next one. I'm gonna make sure I'm on that plane wherever it is. And I'm in that squad because there is bigger opportunity now. I know we're so focused on the moment and enjoying this World Cup, but you've got to be really optimistic for the route the country's going. We've got a great group of young players coming through. We're already seeing the just rewards of guys like Ben Gannon-Doak and even Billy Gilmore before he get injured. You're looking at the sort of fullback selection. You've got Nathan Patterson and there, Aaron Hickey, two decent fullbacks that are coming through as well. I'm really excited for the future of Scotland, and I'm trying to enjoy the now as much as possible. But you've got to say, these guys are going to have many opportunities to represent us at major tournament because I don't see it being a case. And I know the guys were talking about it earlier in the interviews where you sort of get to the end of 98 and the sort of older players start to leave and it's not really a new generation. Well, I think it actually feels the opposite now. It feels like after this World Cup, you're going to lose players like Andy Robertson. He's not going to play in another World Cup. And you're going to lose all these sort of big names, but you've got the young crop coming through to replace them, and I'd argue we've got some really, really good players coming through. So, for guys like Gilmore, of course, it's going to be heartbreaking. He's going to be so upset. So the whole squad, but you know what, Michael, they're going to be at the next one. So I'm looking at the present and the future.
So, Graham, every year, not every year because they don't go to the World Cup, but I mentioned about Darren Meakley, you had Angie Cameron years ago as well. In fact, I think that song's still getting played on the TV as well. But you hear of kind of like bands. It's bringing out songs for the World Cup, but they don't get highlighted enough. So the reason I'm saying that is because we sat down with one of the bands that's going to the World Cup. In fact, I think they're out there now. Actually, the Jollies, they brought out a World Cup song and about obviously Scotland, and we'll hear that at the end of the show. But Ethan spoke to them last week about how they came about with the song and obviously their career as well. So here we go. Here is Ethan talk to them.
Well, I'm delighted to be joined by the Jories, John and Jerry. First of all, I just want to ask you guys, how did you meet? First of all, when you started the Jories?
So the Jories happened late in our friendship. Ethan, Jerry and I have known each other for 40 years, believe it or not. And I was Jerry's best man at his wedding, first wedding. So we've known each other a long, long time. And it was only really fairly recently that I started dabbling about writing songs and stuff like that. And Jerry started learning to play the guitar and stuff. And by pure chance, I happened to be talking to Jerry one day about that, and I was saying, "Oh, I've written a wee song." And he went, "Oh, I'm really interested in that. Tell me more about it." And I was telling him I'd written a song about Scotland. He went, "I'd love to get involved in that." So he obviously looked at my lyrics and then changed some of them, right? Which is never a good thing for somebody who's writing stuff, right? But he's always got an opinion. So we decided, why don't we collaborate, Ethan? So we started playing a little bit together. Jerry plays a bit of guitar, he plays a little bit of ukulele, a little banjo and stuff like that. So we kind of got together with another kind of mutual friend called Kate Kramer, who plays the fiddle. And we decided, listen, this sounds pretty good. So we decided we were going to record a song called A Country Like No Other. The three of us got together down in Kelton Studios and as best as we could, recorded a little tune and put it out there. So we've been only doing music for a couple of years now together.
Well,
long time friends.
Music has always been a big part of our lives and a big part of our friendship, because back in the mid-1980s, which may seem like ancient history to you, we were both karaoke compares when karaoke first came to Scotland. And we spent many a Thursday, Friday and Saturday night in smoke-filled bars, encouraging drunk people to sing.
Brilliant. And
if they could get us off the mic, Ethan, that's
yeah.
Well, that's right.
And what was the sort of maybe inspiration behind the music that you guys make about Scotland, and the two songs that I listened to? Where that one that you referenced to, your guys' first song, A Country Like No Other, and then of course the recent song previewing the World Cup, the Boys in Scotland's Blues. So what's the sort of thinking behind that, and why you make music about pretty much about being proud to be Scottish, really?
Yeah, we are both, and always have been, very proud to be Scots, and that was why the Country Like No Other, describing our country to others, was such a big thing for us. And the football song, that for me anyway, the greatest Scotland football song was in 1978 in Argentina, when Ali MacLeod had convinced the whole nation that we could win the World Cup, and released We're on the March with Ali's Army. For a few months, the whole nation actually believed that we could do it, and it brought us all together, and that song brought us all together. There was 30,000 people gathered at Hampden to watch the football team travel round in a circle on a bus. That was how much the World Cup had captured the imagination of the nation, and that song epitomised it. And what we were trying to do was we were trying to bring in a song which would have that kind of heart to it. John?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, I've been following Scotland my whole life, and I've managed, I'm kind of old enough that I remember the World Cup from 1974 till 98, where we almost got there every single time, and it just became part of your DNA that when the World Cup came, Scotland was there. And you know, the Scotland football songs have always been a bit tongue-in-cheek and stuff, but I wanted to kind of write something that was like more kind of in the style of the kind of Flower of Scotland, but I wanted a song that was kind of anthemic, a sing-along style song that was purely about football, not about beating the English in wars or whatever, right? I wanted something that was completely 100% a football song. Something that the Tartan Army hopefully can get behind, something they could sing at Hampden, and something that was about our love for football. Ethan, you know, I have travelled many countries in the world, and when people hear you're Scottish, they're dead interested in you, know what they know about you, where are you from? But they always ask you what football team do you support, because they know that we are absolute maniacs when it comes to football, and so passionate and love it. And I just want everybody, because society at the moment is a bit divided, Ethan, as you probably know, right? Especially in the UK just now. And I wanted something that would bring us as a nation together, right? Something that we could all gather around. And sing along and forget our differences for the time that we're doing that. But I'm also a dreamer, and I believe we will win the World Cup. And
excellent. That is excellent to hear from someone that's not getting any experience of seeing us at a World Cup. And going back to the Flower of Scotland, I've got sort of two questions in one here based off what you guys said. What are your sort of favourite memories specifically related to the World Cups that you alluded to, and also, John, you mentioned the Flower of Scotland. A lot of debate between Scottish fans and Scottish people whether that should be the national anthem anymore. Do you guys have any strong opinions on that?
Jerry, you want to go first?
I have to go back to when I was 14, and it was 1978, and it was Alice Tartan Army, and the belief that we had, and then we played our first game and we get beat by Peru, and Ali McLeod's head started to get into his hands more and more often. And then we had a draw with Iran, which that was a game we really should have won because Don Masson missed a penalty in that game, and then we had to beat the Dutch by 3 goals. And at one point we were 3-1 up against them, and we still believe we won the game 3-2. And at that time, I would say the Dutch were the best footballing country in the world. They were without Cruyff at that time. He had some problems with a kidnap attempt on his family or something, so they were without Cruyff. But the achievement of actually beating the Dutch, for me, was absolutely phenomenal. And I think we were just slightly unlucky not to go into the next round. And getting into the next round, I think the Scots would have had much more positive views of that World Cup. But I still think, even though we come home, we get beat in the first round, and we come home, I still think of that as one of our greatest achievements in football as a Scotland team.
Ethan, from my point of view, the thing about the Alan McLeod thing that Jerry talks about, Alan McLeod was interviewed before going to the World Cup, and one of the journalists says, "What would you do if you actually won the World Cup?" And Alan McLeod said, "Retain it." And I think that's one of the greatest retorts ever. But to answer your question about the Flower of Scotland, as I said earlier on, I love the Flower of Scotland, right? I love the Corey's version of it. I think it's magnificent. I think it's a great song. And it's about Scottish pride, and it's about the kind of the fights between the Scots and the English. The only kind of downside about it is it's not a football song. Is that written about football? It's obviously an anthem in itself. It's an adopted anthem, right? And I think adopted anthems are better than written anthems because they're the ones that the fans have decided they want to sing. So I'm not going to go against the Scottish fans and say you've made the wrong decision. I just want to bring an alternative so that I've got 2 songs that can sing.
Yeah, and that's it. You must be obviously. I imagine you start making music because of your love for it, and that's what it sounds like. But you guys must be happy with the amount of attention that the songs have got. At 70,000 plays on YouTube on the recent one, The Boys in Scotland's Blue. You must be delighted with that kind of stuff, that people are engaging and watching what you guys have done.
Yeah, it's all about our love of music and football. It's nothing to do with money or anything. What I would love to hear at some stage, it would make my life complete if I could be switching on the telly to watch Scotland playing against Haiti, and to hear at some point a chorus of the Lion Rampants flying, the crowd are on their feet. That would make my life complete. I would love that.
Undoubtedly, it would be magnificent. Ethan, just remind me of the question.
Yeah, just about the sort of obviously you guys started the music is just a love for football, as you guys have spoke about, and just a love for music. But you must be satisfied and happy about how many viewers and how many people that have
100%
attention to what you guys have done.
I had a look at YouTube, and you're right. The 2 videos get 90,000 views, which is just insane. Right? It's just nuts. because we're not a well-known group, Ethan. Do you know what I mean? And I was looking on TikTok, and it's approaching 250,000 views. All the different videos we've got on TikTok, I can't comprehend that. Right? that just blows my mind. Being someone is, I'm not on many social media. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter. And we only opened the TikTok account purely for our music. And, there's a lot of little videos of just us doing little Scottish songs, just in my room in Jerry's house, just songs we like. I do some parody stuff as well, some little parody songs that are on it, which I enjoy doing because they're just fun. But the number of people, if you add them together, 350,000 people in some way have engaged with our song. It's fantastic, Ethan. I can't say anything else, but I'm so proud that other people have enjoyed it. And do you know the other thing that kind of people said to me, you put those songs out there and the haters will hate you. They'll come on and they'll start slagging you off. Nobody has slagged this off. Everybody's been so supportive and so delighted that we're writing about Scotland, because, Scotland's a great country and I just want everybody to know that, but the fact that so many people have engaged, it's fantastic, genuinely fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And if you spoke about some people will hate, and I think I've seen a lot of that this year, especially with other sort of World Cup songs and stuff like that, and people having a go at it. Have you seen any other bands or groups or individuals making songs for this World Cup, that any in particular that you've seen and thought, oh, that's really good, and I like what they've done with it in terms of that way?
Genuinely, I haven't really seen. Look, when I go on kind of TikTok, you get a lot of songs coming up. A lot of them are kind of like, using a Scottish song and just putting their own lyrics to it, kind of thing, which I think is great fun. And like Donald, Where's Your Trousers, or Bury Jean, the Scottish songs, and they've just done their own versions of it, and they're hilarious, and I've loved listening to them. And there must be 100 songs out there that people have released. There's probably more, right?
And each one of them entertaining in its own way. Yeah,
they're all brilliant, right? They're all brilliant, and they're all from the heart, and that's what I love, right? Everybody just loves Scotland, and I would be happy if the whole country got together and wrote a big song. Do you know what I mean? I think it would be magnificent. But the fact that everybody's, do you know what I said at the start, Ethan? We're all together in this. There's nobody who's dissenting here thinking, I hope they do badly. Everybody wants us to win. So anybody who's putting a song out there, whether they're doing their own tunes or not, it doesn't matter. Everybody's there with the same intentions to support the team. And that for me is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I think you, John, in particular, you gave away your sort of thoughts on this question. But before I let everybody that hasn't heard already that The Boys in Scotland's Blue, your recent single, how do you think we're going to get on at the tournament? What are your aspirations for us, and how confident are you that we can go far?
Do you know what? That's a brilliant question, Ethan, because I think everybody outside of Scotland thinks to themselves, oh, isn't it lovely that Scotland have got there? And I guarantee you, if you're sitting in Steve Clarke's dressing room, he doesn't give a damn about getting there. He wants to get far in the tournament. Yeah. And my belief, right, is we'll beat England 3-0 in the final. That's it. But, I think people will... naturally, because we've not been in the World Cup for 28 years, right? I don't think people will take us as a serious challenge. And let's not kid on, Ethan. We are in a tough group, right? Morocco are a top team with top players from some of the biggest clubs in the world. Haiti won 4-0 against New Zealand, I noticed. So they're no mugs. And we don't have to really mention Brazil, do we? Because the most successful team ever. So we seem to get Brazil. It's like a magnet to us. We seem to be attracted to them. So, but I'm actually going to the World Cup Haiti for the Haiti game, and I think we'll beat Haiti. I think Morocco is going to be a serious challenge, but I think we're going to get a draw with them. I think Brazil will probably beat us, if I'm being honest. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. And I think 4 points would be enough to see us through for the first time. And once you're in the knockout tournaments, it's been proven time and time again that MD can win, right?
Yeah.
Anybody. And listen, let's not kid ourselves on here. We beat a good Denmark team. We beat Spain when they were the top team in the world. All we need to do is string these results together, and for our strongest players to stay fit through the tournament, because we've got some world-class players in there. I mean, I think John McGinn is just a wonderful player, and he can boss the midfield for us. So I believe we can go far in this tournament. And I'm not even saying that for this program. I believe that we can go far in this tournament.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think it has to be one game at a time, and you've got a team there that are going to pull together and show the heart, and we could do great things.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for your time, guys. And if you're not already inspired for Scotland ahead of this World Cup, after what the guys have said, then you will be after this. This is The Boys in Scotland's Blue by the Joe.
There you go. Before we hear them in action, I just want to say it's been a brilliant show tonight. Thanks to everybody. It's helped out behind the scenes, because we don't pull the show together, rock up 5 minutes and say, oh, what we got to do tonight? A show? Aye, okay. So thanks to Robbie for his excellent work behind the scenes tonight. He has designed the banner about the screen. Reagan, Alex, and obviously Ethan as well for doing that interview. And also Graham and Heidi, thanks for being here. And you'll see more of Heidi and Graham during the World Cup, actually. And I'm hoping to get Rory Hamilton on at one of the games as well, so look out for that one as well. So thanks for watching tonight. I'm trying to give the Geordies a big build up, and we're going to play it with that song. But Graham, it's brilliant to hear kind of like not kind of well named, not kind of big kind of names like just writing a song,
And Graham's on mute.
Graham's on mute. I thought it was going well there. I thought it was only me.
No, I was talking really, for a change, I was talking really well there. No, I came across these guys on TikTok, and I've heard a lot of different Scotland World Cup songs. They're all good. Don't get me wrong, they're all good. But this one is incredible. Like the words, the tune, the harmonies, it's just incredible. And it's no exaggeration to say, as soon as I heard that, I got it downloaded on Spotify, and I have listened to this pretty much every day. It is an absolute belter. And fair play to John and Jerry. It's a brilliant tune. And yeah, to hear folk that you don't normally hear of, I think it's absolutely brilliant. But honestly, if you've not heard this song, get it downloaded, because I have, and it is absolutely brilliant. I love this song. It is genius.
Aye, since sorry, Michael, I was just going to say, since you told us the Jerry's were coming on to the show, I've purposely no listened to the song and heard it for the first time here, so I'm actually buzzing to hear this, because Graham's bigged it up to the point where I think it's going to be a playlist regular even after the World Cup. So aye, fair play to them, because music's it's a really unique hobby, and it can make careers as well. And the Jerrys speak so passionately about music, and they love playing it, and it's really, really good to hear. So no, I'm absolutely buzzing to hear this. So,
and don't forget, you can subscribe to their channel. That's the channel at the bottom on YouTube as well. Heidi, I was going to be bagged and say, well, Graham and Robbie's gave it the big build up. I haven't got the Jerry song to play out the show tonight, but no, that would be quite bad of me to do that. So I have got it here. So Heidi, are you looking forward to your first World Cup? Make me and Graham feel very, very old.
Yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm actually really excited, even just for like the other nations as well. I'm actually collecting a sticker book, But yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be great, and hopefully Scotland can do something and hopefully make the nation proud, because all the songs, everybody just hyping up. It's just great. So hopefully we can do something and hopefully make the nation proud again.
There you go. And before we go, one shameless plug for our show, guys, coming up against Scotland against Haiti. Or I don't know why people call it Haiti. I had to get my teeth in the right way to see that. It is a couple of days away, and we'll be on at 8 o'clock at night, and then the next day. We'll be on at 2 in the afternoon to look back in the game, and obviously after that we'll be on for the Morocco game right up until the World Cup final. Because as John said, we're going to be England maybe 6-0, maybe in the final.
6-0 at half time, Michael said 6-0 at half time.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So as I say, thanks for watching the show. If you haven't subscribe to the channel, how dare you? Do subscribe to the channel. There you go. It's the Scottish Football Zone. And again, thanks to everybody involved in making this program going out as neatly as they can, even though I messed up at the beginning. But hey ho, that's not unusual for me. But no, we haven't got Tom Jones tonight. We've got the Johnnies playing us out. Did you see that dig there, Graham? I was right for that. So Graham's got to get his
It's not unusual.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, exactly. Monday to Friday. So Graham's got to go up and get his kilt on and dance to the boys in Scotland Blue by the Johnny, and we'll be back for the Haiti game on Saturday night. So no Scotland. All right, okay.
No party!
No party!
Yeah,
Oh, no Scotland.
One day it will happen, our dream will come true. I believe it's coming soon, do you believe it too? It used to be a pipe dream, a wish for me and you. But now the boys are ready, the boys in Scotland's blue. The lion rampant's flying, the crowd are on their feet. The Hampden roar is booming, you can hear it from the street. The flower of Scotland ringing out, no longer in retreat. Together as one nation, and we will not be beat. Our self-belief is growing as victories are won. Our time it has arrived, a new era has begun. And we will stand behind them, a team that are as one. A team we can be proud of, a team of Scotland's sons. The lion rampant flying, the crowd are on their feet. The Hampden roar is booming, you can hear it from the street. The flower of Scotland ringing out, no longer in retreat. Together as one nation, and we will not be beat. Can we beat the whole world? Of course we bloody can. We are the Tartan Army, the greatest football fans. The pipes, the kilts, the joy, every woman, child and man. join with me in singing as one big Scottish clan. The lion, the rampant's flying, the crowd are on their feet. The hand and roar is booming, you can hear it from the street. The cloud of Scotland ringing out, no longer in retreat. Together as one nation, and we will not be beat. The lion, the rampant flying, the crowd are on their feet. The hand and the roar is booming, you can hear it from the street. The cloud of Scotland ringing out, no longer in retreat. Together as one nation, and we will not be
Following Scotland at the World Cup with the Scotland Football Zone.